I think some of you know this. We met this morning. Like, I've been influenced and mentored by her for 9 years. We met this morning. So it's unlikely that I will go quiet at any point, but if I do, it's because I can't believe that I'm sitting here.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That, in fact, it didn't occur to us that we hadn't met until what, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, no, it literally didn't come up.
We've
It
never
was like,
seen
so
each
we're gonna do
other.
this, and we're gonna do, and then it was like, wait, we haven't met, have we?
Hello, how are you?
Hey,
It's nice to meet you. This is very, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, now thematically, that's actually relevant, right? Because what we want for you guys this day is to meet yourself. And it will be as familiar as we feel, even though we hadn't met until today. Because you have met yourself. You just might not have noticed. If you know you've met yourself, then let's take it a step further today. You'll get to know yourself. That's probably gonna happen. And if you really like, I know myself, I've met myself, then we're gonna celebrate you. We're gonna show you that you're kind of a big deal. Hence the name of the program. Kind of a big deal, a user's guide to being yourself. Maybe you want to share some thoughts about, just from what you've seen, about what helps people hear it?
Listening helps.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
If you're taking notes, that would be number one, listening.
I kind of go on and on and on about listening because it is my favorite thing. In fact, I was just telling my name is Michael, right?
Michael,
Right.
yeah.
I was telling Michael this morning that
Sound like Mavis, Michael, you'll be fine.
M&Ms,
There you go. Ooh.
sweet. I was telling Michael this morning, I went to a chiropractor not many years ago, and my neck was, I don't know, out or something. And he said, "What do you do for a living?" And I told him I'm a teacher. He said, do you do a lot of listening?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And he said, "Well, that's why your neck's out." So I just want to tell you, if you listen too well today, you might need a chiropractor.
Yes. Yeah, we realize we've been teaching listening all these years and we never warned people. So, just my dad worked at Bell Labs in the 50s, and he invented the thing that used to sit on a telephone that you could keep the telephone on your shoulder. That was my dad. And he made the legs to the lunar module that landed on the moon. He was really what he did was drill holes in metal, but he did such cool pieces of metal to drill holes in. It was a big deal. No, we used to keep the spare key under one. That we had a leg that it didn't quite, like, it was off by 1/8 of a millimeter, so it couldn't go to the moon. So we had it in the garage for the spare key. It's not really relevant to anything we're doing here, but I just thought I'd share.
That was part of our grueling planning session. He was going to talk about his dad and the ear thing. So listening, what I would hope for all of you today, that because it's such a nice soft room, that you just relax, don't try to figure anything out, and listen softly, and just make room for whatever comes to you.
Just a distinction I found helpful. Those of you who've been around me have heard me talk about it before, but it's the difference between being here as a researcher and being here as an explorer. Like being here as a researcher is, okay, what are they going to say? And it's almost like you're taking notes on the seminar so you can go listen to what you made up we said later and then learn from that. And it's not always a bad idea to listen that way, but it isn't helpful for this. So being an explorer means if we're pointing somewhere, you might look. If we're saying something, instead of either agreeing or disagreeing or trying to figure out what we mean, just kind of listen. and see what it does for you. And sometimes it will not seem to be doing much. And sometimes it will seem to be doing like way out of proportion to what was said. And so if you're willing to just be here today for you, be here today to have an experience, and we're going to say an experience of yourself. And as we go through the day, that will hopefully take on more meaning as a sentence. That would be the win. Yes?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, listening in my early work was about listening to find out what was wrong with people, to listen to diagnose so that I could tell them what was wrong with them and then fix them. I apologize. But that's what I thought my job was. Imagine my surprise to find out there's nothing wrong with everybody. Absolutely nothing. Which is a big relief because I didn't know how to ever fix them. So lucky me, I found out. Nobody needs fixing. Ah, yes. So when you listen today, don't do what I did. Don't diagnose, don't analyze, don't figure out. Just listen until you can feel this golden cord between our hearts and yours. We'll do this together. One is a great number. And we could manage to even have some fun.
Yeah, we can do that. Sure. One of the things that may be relevant to someone, so I will share it because it was my experience, is, see, if Mavis had told me to be myself when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I would have thought, so you want me to be the depressive who's barely hanging on, and you think that's going to be helpful? Because I knew who I was. I was a depressive who did okay, given his mental health issues. If Mavis had said to me, just be yourself in my 30s, I would have gone, oh, so just be a worthless piece of shit. Okay, well, I am anyway, so I can do that. Because that was who I was as far as I knew. And I didn't even have that much of a problem with it because I tried to do good in the world anyways. But I was, in my mind, a depressive, worthless piece of shit trying to do good in the world. And, given that, I did okay. Like, I didn't have low self-esteem, right? Yeah. I thought I was one of the kinder, broken, worthless pieces of shit I knew. Like, that was okay. Is that weird? Anyway, don't answer. So when we say be yourself, if you think, really? Because you know who you are and it's not pretty, that's not you. That's an idea you picked up somewhere along the way that really seems like you. Because that's how ideas work. If we have them long enough, they start seeming really true. We start gathering evidence that they're true. But it wasn't until, and I mean, this was how I didn't know this was what I was seeing at the time, but I listened to a video. So we both, I mean, Mavis actually knew him. I learned from a man named Sid Banks. A lot of you will know who he is. He was a Scottish welder who had an enlightenment experience. And I was grudgingly watching a video of him. And I say grudgingly because there was a baseball game on and I really wanted to watch it, but I promised I would watch the video. So I'm drinking a beer, watching this Sid Banks video so that I can get onto the baseball game. And I hear him say, every human being is sitting in the middle of mental health. They just don't know it. And you know that golden cord thing Mavis was just talking about? It happened. And I just knew it. I just got that was true. I didn't know that until that second. Other people may have said it to me. I don't remember. Now that's a hell of a thing for someone who's been convinced most of their life that they're broken to see. Beard did come out of my nose. You know, it was kind of a snort, ugly little waking up experience. And I laughed for like 10 minutes, and some of it was just release and relief. And some of it was like stressed chimpanzee laughter. We're like, I didn't know what to make of it. I had never considered that. It was a little bit devastating when I thought about how much of my life had been spent trying to either fix or mitigate my damaged ass. To realize it was never damaged in the first place, I just thought it was. Now, if somebody had told me that, I could have argued with them, I could have shown them diagnoses, I could have given them many examples that I would have felt were very compelling. And yet I knew in that second, it just wasn't true. It had really seemed true. I would have passed a lie detector test that it was true. But it had never been true. And I remember the first thought consciously I had after I heard it was, babies don't need therapy. Like clearly I was not born broken. So either I had broken somewhere along the way, or as it turned out, I had picked up the idea that I was broken somewhere along the way. But it was never true. And it messed up my career for a while, because I was about to go on a book tour promoting a book on how to feel better even when you're broken. I don't talk about it a lot, but I got some nice letters from people saying it helped them. But I had meant every word of it right up until that moment, and then I couldn't stand behind a single word of it afterwards. That's how quickly you can get to know yourself. You can meet yourself. And once you've done it, there's kind of no going back. Like she's warning you, if you listen too well, you might get a crick in your neck. I'm warning you that if you meet yourself and get to know yourself today, you're going to find it really hard to go back to convincing yourself there's anything wrong with you. Now, that's a risk I'm going to guess most of you are willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, good, because otherwise you should probably go.
There, that was easy. Where should we go now?
Well, I thought you'd talk.